We mentioned they have video games to play while you're there too. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar, open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Monday, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School, coming at you live, 1040 O Street. It's Old School, the new school way. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop. 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Old Cheney / I'll say Andermatt because I like that. And 168th in Maple up there in the hot blazing day. I got close to 90 degrees, at least that's what it says. On my little watch here. I don't know how accurate that is, but no wind and or was windy earlier, but the wind has died down. A lot going on. There's a lot, things are heating up though, Austin, on every front. Obviously, you know, it's schedule season. The NFL does a really good. The college schedule is based on. They always have like an ultimate flex schedule. Like, you know, if you're playing good, all right, you'll either be big noon or like, you know, at late at night, you know what I'm saying? Where they can, you know, within a week, they can kind of put you in slots. Whereas the NFL and their schedule, they're just going to drop little nuggets here and there.
Yeah.
And the thing, I like that. I mean, the NFL knows how to extend. I mean, essentially, you know, when I played, it was essentially you play the season and then nothing really, then you have a little bit of excitement because it was a Senior Bowl. Little less excitement because of, or actually it was the Hula Bowl, which I should have went to, Austin.
Why did you not go to the Hula Bowl?
Well, do we really want to know why?
I did ask you the question.
Hey, man. See, I don't know. See, this is now, before I answer the question, man, this is the deal, man. I'm just telling you, man. It might be. I know there's a full moon, right? Right?
I think there was.
Yeah. I think it's been a couple days. People been testing me, man. It started a while back, man. I'm telling you.
Have you ever considered that you're just easy to mess with?
Probably. Yeah, I'm wired up pretty tight. I'm pretty.
Did you make it easy?
I'm not sensitive. I'm just wired up tight. I snap quick. You know.
Now I should know better and not test you. That's my bad. I take it back.
No,
please, Jay, do tell me. I am actually curious as to why you skipped the Hula Bowl.
Now you're patronizing me. And that's what hey, Austin. Now I will tell you, listen, if you really want to know what I'm at when I start doing this, now you're patronizing me. You need to stop right now. Hey, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I got to tell you this, right? We were in training camp in Buffalo. And we had this dude, man, named Corey Halsey. He went to Clemson. I mean, he was the biggest dude I like not had ever seen because of Ted Washington. He was just, his shoulders were so wide. He was like an ice box. But he was 6'4", 340, and he was playing guard and tackle. So he had to kind of, and he was a free agent. So, he had to be a try-hard guy. Try-hard guys in the league are when you he's going to try to push you in the back. He's going to try to maybe finish you when he can. And you know what? There is a place for that because I had to grind. Now, I knew what not to do and what to do, from my experience as a ball boy. And Corey Halsey was getting into it with Bruce Smith, and he went off. Then Bruce put him in the spin cycle without his chin strap without his chin strap buckled up. And see, now I taught you a lesson. Well, Corey Halsey was getting into it with this dude named Eric Flowers. And Eric Flowers was a first-round pick, and, they were kind of pushing and shoving. Corey Halsey pushed Eric Flowers one last time. Eric Flowers says, he got down on a knee. He drew the line. He drew a line in the grass. He's like, you crossed this line. No, literally though. Like, he's like, you crossed this line right now. We're gonna fight for real. So that's where I'm at. But anyways,
did that line get crossed?
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good fight.
Nice.
But then the bad part was it was hot day like today. And then
so they're mad to begin with, probably.
Yeah, and it's the middle, and then but we all got to get in, and you can't run in there without your helmet. You catch a 2-piece real good. You don't get put. You won't get slept. Well, anyways, back to the NFL schedule. I like it because they, or at least the offseason. So so the Hula Bowl, it was thought of as like the lesser than bowl, which was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb agent. Excuse my language. I didn't go to that because I knew the East West was I was trying to play well. If I had to do it all over again, this is hindsight 2020, and everything worked out good for me. Great, way better than I ever envisioned when I came here as a scrawny freshman,
as a running back,
as a whatever. What I was not going to do is be diving on the floor, on the ground, cut blocking as a receiver. It's like, yeah, I'm too good. I got too many skills for this. I really thought too much of myself when I got in there. I really thought everything started and stopped up there in Minnesota. If I had to do it again, I would have went to the Hula Bowl, kicked butt, then went to the East West, did what I did there, because the whole purpose is I wanted to try to get to the Senior Bowl. Because I knew in my heart and I felt if I could get to the Senior Bowl, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just felt it. It was a deep linebacker class. It was like at my position, it was well in the mid-20s that got drafted, as far as linebackers. And really good players too. I mean, so I'm not taking anything away from anybody. And I wasn't able to get there. They actually, and I still see the dude when I see him sometimes when I, like if I see him at a game or something, he took I think the linebacker named Matt Hughes from Iowa because he was 6'4" and I was like 6'2" and like 5'8".
Petty.
Yeah, well, back then you had to be a big, they like big linebackers. Now I was a big
gap
linebacker.
Pluggers, run stuffers.
Right, but I could, I was big. I was 240, 242 pounds.
You were big enough.
Yeah, but not tall. Well, pretty much 6'3".
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, so I didn't make it. So as far as the news cycle, there wasn't a lot with the Hula Bowl because it's in Hawaii, right? I mean, what? That's the thing. I'm so dumb. I've just turned down a free trip to Hawaii.
They'll pay for you to go to Hawaii, and you said no.
And I know the practices were easy.
They're in Hawaii for Pete's sake.
Right, kicking it. Probably would have got turned up too much. I would have been like.
So you resisted temptation by not going to Hawaii.
I would have been Trent Williams before him. Remember when he took the champagne bottle upside his head to still play?
Yeah,
I would have been. But the only thing is, I had a big head. I would have been knocked out. Then they would say, "See, Nebraska's back off the field issues, right?" And so but what they did with so then it was the combine, and that was it. And then the draft. So it was real like segmented, as far as like the NFL goes. Now it's all they said. You know what? Let's just take over Christmas. How you like that, NBA? To the point that LeBron tried to market the NBA, there's like, no, our numbers. No, matter of fact, we don't even have to be on them stations. We'll just go to Netflix.
Right.
Yeah. And do stupid numbers, crazy numbers. Now you're going to do it more. So
college football taking over their sacred day on Black Friday.
Right.
Nope, that's ours now.
Yeah, we're here.
Thanksgiving's not enough. We need the next day too.
Right, because they said, and then on top of it, they're like, yeah, we refuse to do a minor league. But college is going to do it for us while everybody goes broke. We need to get to that too. Iowa State's AD, that was hard to watch because he's a really good AD.
Yeah.
They have money in reserves, and I don't know if he's crying wolf. You know how it is. He's
playing politics.
Yeah. But I'm back to this though. Now the NFL is 365, 24/7, 365, and with this schedule drop, it's great because they're doing it at, through different times or whatever. Here's the problem I have with it. You want to know what the big problem is?
You're not getting residual.
No, that's been a long
What's
time
the other
ago.
problem?
I want to know when I'm going to Buffalo. If I'm going to Buffalo, it's the last year.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I was only up there for a little while. I love Buffalo. I like going. I do. I really. As a matter of fact, I talked to a friend of mine that's from Charlotte. Him and his buddies, they're taking a golf trip up to kind of Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and they're going to gamble and all that. So it's kind of funny that we're talking about it right now. But I wouldn't mind going back to Buffalo, go to Houston, for alumni weekend.
Yeah.
Man, that first alumni weekend in Houston, boy. I told you about that, right?
I don't recall.
It's
legendary.
It's legend. First of all, it was when Andre went into the Ring of Fame.
Ah.
We got tore down to the floor. We were tore up. I mean, the McNairs went all out. They was like, this is the first one. They kind of paid for everything, right? And it was first class, right? And I think Andre brings that with him. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's in kind of like advisory role. You know, he's got a really successful restaurant down there. I need to go down there and get in. I need to hit him up. But look, brother needs a free steak. It's a steakhouse too. You know, like that Texas red meat. But so you know, you get there and you know everybody kind of you know because it's a new franchise. You know, the originals, which I was a part of, and then you know you always watch because you know, and I worked for Houston. I was down there doing TV, so I knew. You know, the guys are really good players and they had a really good, you know, good run with Gary Kubiak and all them. So we get there and everybody, you know, it's fellowship at the hotel. It's great. And then, you know, you have a whole planned weekend and all that, right? And that's phenomenal. But there was a dude there, you know, and you got to think. So I played after my 7 year left Houston, 2 more years, done. Kind of like a year or two hiatus, but still watching Houston as they're being successful. Everybody knows who JJ Watt, Arian Foster, and all those guys are. And JJ was still playing. But you still know the players. And there's a dude walking around. I mean, he's kind of, you know, what happens sometimes with offensive linemen. They either get really, really big or they get really, really small. Or and then there's some guys that lose a lot of weight and they just get jacked. You know, yeah, right. They just start working out. This dude was, you know, he kind of was, you know, yoked up, but I was like, man, he ain't big enough to be a D lineman. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like tall enough. He might be a center, you know, just because, you know, a center can be a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But they had Myers. His last name, he was number 55. He was Myers. He's from Miami, you know, so he's been there forever because he came from Denver with Kubiak or whatever. I was like, who, you know, I was like, oh, maybe a guard. But I was like, nah. So my man Fred Wary, you know, Fred Wary down there, he's from the university. I call him Checker Fred. I'm thinking now we had some epic times, man, when we were down there. But then I was thinking, like, who is this dude? And I was like asking my man Travis Johnson, who call him Trap. I said, Trap, who is he? He's like, you know, he's like strict conspiracy. He's like, I don't know, man. He might be playing it. He probably watching on all of us. I said, Travis, we long gone. We can do whatever we want, as long as we, you know, stay out of jail this weekend because we don't want to, you know, have to stay till Monday. Well, it turns out that they announced on radio that this is the first, because the NFL went through this thing, and you know where colleges where they kind of just, you know, guys would play and then shunned them. You know what I mean? Like alumni or whatever, right? So that NFL came up with a deal, you know, alumni. You see, you know, like DP went to the Commanders. I was about to say the Redskins or whatever. I knew him as the Redskins and or whatever. And so that was kind of like it was the first kind of year where it was a league effort. Well, they announced it on the radio and they announced it on sports radio. And, you know, Houston's the 3rd largest city. So there's like 4 or 5
major
stations.
Yeah.
And then it was on like their, I think channel Fox 26 or something like that, you know? So, I mean, it was, you know, hey, you know, this is you know, it's this game and alumni weekend, first ever one. Well, long story short, this dude calls in there, calls. Then he calls down to this reminds me of some stuff you see on that. Well, he calls and gets his name on there. It made up like that he had played for the Texans. So whoever, I'm sure that receptionist got fired. So he was there. Austin.
Incredible.
He had, you know, a girl with him. I think it's his wife. Hey, eating, drinking. Hey, Austin. Taking pictures in the group text. We had a group meet, you know, that group meet all that. RSVP'd everything, all up, you remember when Suge Knight said all up in the videos and all, all that. Then so the weekend goes past, and then, of course, Travis Johnson say, hey, we finally found out. This dude was like, not on the run, but he had some shady like past, and he lied, like essentially catfished his way to get in there. And we talk about him every alumni weekend. Well, and I haven't been back, but we always, you know, talk about it or whatever.
That's pretty clever. I'll give the guy that.
Hey, and you know
That's
what?
dedication to the bit.
And he looked the part. I'll never forget, and it was weird because I was like trying to figure out like, what position he was, or like, because he had a bald head, you know what I'm saying? Like bald head, and then he had a beard, but he had these like, I don't know if they're kind of like weird, kind of like green eyes or whatever. So I'm like, dang, this is, what's up with this dude, right? But yeah, it was a week, but that's why it's important, because when that happens, then when the schedule comes out, then you find out when alumni weekend is and all that.
Is alumni weekend like homecoming for college where you schedule a cupcake, or do you want like a rival? Do you want a big name in town for it?
You don't got a choice. It's just
you can choose when you schedule alumni weekend. You don't make the schedule, but you can choose where you put it. In the NFL,
it's any given Sunday you can lose. Fair. You see teams that just offer and beat the best team in the league.
Would you rather have Jacksonville or Indy on alumni weekend? How about that?
Man, the way that offensive line blocked it, we got rid of Laramie Tunsil. I don't know who we want to play.
If you're Buffalo, would you rather have Miami or the Jets?
Miami. It just be great to beat them, especially on alumni weekend. So yeah, that's what you wait. I think it comes out tonight, 7, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, what goes on. Then you got the college, like week 0, week 1. You got what is it? LSU at Clemson. Mm-hmm. Saw that from Jamari Butler, and then obviously Nebraska is playing Cincinnati 8:00 at night.
Get your coffee.
Yeah, we played Oklahoma State up there, man. That went down to the wire, boy. They had a new offense, new defense. They was running through us like through a tin horn, and we couldn't stop them. Then we brought an extra defensive lineman, then we shut it down. But those games are always the hardest because, in my opinion, and I said this when Nebraska went and played Northwestern. Now, granted, it was just right after COVID, right? And I think. Right? Because I think Nebraska got sick, and then Northwestern came over late and stayed, kind of that whole deal. I think that the first game is always the hardest. Well, in my opinion, here's why. Is just, and this is any game. Now, if you're playing a team that you're way more talented than, and so forth, and I think Nebraska's more talented than Cincinnati. I wouldn't say like way more talented. You know what I'm saying? I think they're more talented. But like a huge gap, like between Nebraska and like was that Houston Christian?
Yeah.
Is that you're gonna get their best? It should be your best effort, game plan, and all that, and theirs. So then and then also it's your first game.
Yeah.
And as the old saying goes, you want to see usually the biggest jump is from week 1 to week 2. Tackling and stuff like that. You get into game shape. It's differently. You can run all you want. And practice and do the sprints or whatever, the gassers or whatever, and practice hard. But there's nothing like feeling the adrenaline, anxiety, and getting out there and going against an opponent that's going to bite back.
And week 1 is always an interesting sort of litmus test for the fan base, because obviously you'd rather start off the year with a win than a loss. And with only one data point, it means everything for that season so far. If Nebraska wins, it's a big deal. Right, they start the season off with a win. They beat someone with a pulse, with a game plan, with some legitimate talent there. They beat a power conference opponent, and that counts for something.
Yeah,
but that doesn't necessarily mean Nebraska's on the track for destiny or whatever. And on the flip side, Nebraska loses, it's gonna feel like the sky's falling.
Yeah.
Oh crap, here we go again. But really, it's just 1 week, right? And like you said, any given Sunday, it's same thing. Any given Saturday or Thursday, I guess in this case for Nebraska and Cincinnati. But this is, Jay, I think a really good opportunity for Nebraska under the lights, national, and again, people on the team, people around the team shouldn't really care about that stuff. But for the fan base, playing in primetime hasn't gone well recently, right? It's crap. What is the team going to do to let this one slip? And everyone's going to be watching and talking about it all day Friday without games till we get to Saturday. But you get a road game 3 hours from home where you'll have generously 60% of the attendance, right? Being generous to Cincinnati, you'll have 75-80%.
Yeah, you'll have at the very least for sure. And it's a home game because you got a lot of Nebraska alum that live in the Kansas City and Kansas area, Missouri and Kansas area, and it's close by. Heck, it's not. Kansas City's only 6 hours from Minneapolis, and it's about the same maybe to Des Moines, and so you're going to get a lot of Nebraska alum there. And plus it's a primetime game, and really, to be honest with you, the players should care about it because you get to be live on stage, and it's a great way to go out there and play well on a national stage. Everybody's watching you, right? And there's two different ways to care about it, because you want to go and play well for your team and obviously yourself as well. But you don't want to care about it so much that you play tight and then you don't show up prepared, ready to play, so you can kind of, or you're too focused on the hoopla, right?
Yeah.
The pregame show, running around and doing all that stuff. So
I do have to ask you,
yeah,
on the NFL schedule side of things, it just popped up for me. The Vikings have back-to-back weeks in Europe.
I know. You might as well just stay over there.
Is this the test run for
Jacksonville?
That's one.
But why? But if I'm the Vikings, why us? We ain't going nowhere. We just got this new stadium.
Justin Jefferson really likes tea. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you why. Their fan base travels as good, or is the best. Well, the Packers, as good as anybody, and especially internationally.
Does Ziggy have connections over there, Mr. Wolf?
I'm sure he does. They're a billionaire.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, billionaires got it. Just how we had that text line alumni, they got billionaire text line. They probably have a special line that they can go to presidents and kings or whatever they're going to go over there. But yeah, so the Vikings travel well. So but also the NFL is taking they're taking notes on how successful it is as far as attendance, the after effects of it, probably the influx of money into the economy, and will it be sustainable? And it could be something that you do where you have a team that travels to the U.S. for 2 or 3 weeks and a bye week, and then you get 2 or 3 games home, so forth and so on. I mean, it definitely can be done, but it's got to be also sustainable with players, and good players, viable players. And it'll be interesting to see. Just imagine if you're the number one player coming out and you get drafted by, the London Lions or something, or London whatever, right? The taxes and all that. That's the big thing as far as a player. I'm sure the taxes are different or higher, but you're getting taxed at a different country rate. Then you're coming over here getting taxed. You could really almost be working for less as far as the percentage of money you're able to take home.
Let me just throw this out here ahead of time. If the Colts struggle again this year, it won't be because of Anthony Richardson. It won't be because of Daniel Jones. It won't be because of a new defensive coordinator, a new scheme. It'll be because the NFL hates the Colts. We know coastal teams travel. We know if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in Seattle, if you're in San Francisco, whatever it is, even Buffalo, usually toward the top of these rankings, you have to travel. It's part of the deal. Time zones and all of that. If you're in the Midwest, it's pretty even, right? Because it's shorter flights everywhere.
Yeah.
Jay, the Indianapolis Colts, smack dab in the middle of the gosh darn country, travel the 7th most miles of any team. They get 2 trips out to LA, and they go out to Germany, and they go to the East Coast multiple times. On the flip side, the Buffalo Bills only travel 10,500 miles. So I'm just saying, if the Colts struggle,
it's because of the travel.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
They're keeping us down.
Well, they're trying to get you the number 1 pick next year. Make you draft another quarterback.
Do you think Arch declares next year?
Why not? And the thing about him, real quick, we got 1 minute. The thing about him, don't even matter what he does. He's still going in first round.
Yeah. If the NFL is really conspiring to get the Colts Arch Manning, they need to go next level and make sure Arizona has a change of heart on last year's first draft pick.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a great story. You'd be right there. You got Uncle Peyton there, or obviously a big part of his career. But yeah, Arch is definitely living the life, getting paid to sit for a couple of years, and he's going to get paid, go through the year. They'll make every excuse in the book why he goes number 1 or goes first round. So anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back. We'll talk some more scheduling. Colorado, Georgia Tech. I think that's going to be a good game, post the Sanders and Hunters era. But Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk about trading up. Not what you're thinking. You could never trade her in, but you can trade up her stone if you like. Signify the growth of your love, the challenges you have overcome, or any part of your love journey by trading up her diamond. Whether it's been 5 years, 25 years, or 50, say it with a bling. Big love, big bling. We got you. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Summertime is here. It's time to get to Brown's Shoe Fit for their May sandal sale. From now through May 31st, get $15 off all regular price sandals. Whether it's for hiking, for the lake, or just everyday sandals, Brown's has you covered. And don't forget, Brown's carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your summer off right with the May sandal sale at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Copple Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at copplecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G1877747, and G1965599.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School, on this awesome day here, live in effect, 1040 O Street. Schedule talk, man. I mean, we could probably talk about this forever, but there's some interesting games, and I think the Clemson LSU game is obviously going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest. The interesting part about that is this comes on the heels of Clemson and Notre Dame signing, I think, a 10-year contract, to play. Whereas, essentially good on good, and they're going to try to make the most of it. So,
and it doesn't count as an ACC game, so they still have to play 5 others.
Yeah, so always a way around it, and they're going to probably make big bucks, with it. But the Nebraska game, I think, is going to be huge. It's going to be a great opportunity for Nebraska to really be on the big stage at that time at night. Everybody's going to be watching. It's the last game of the day, or on Thursday. And it's, when you have the first week there, we're just looking at the schedules now. Nothing really, sticks out. Fresno State at Kansas, we'll see. I mean, obviously, you think Kansas to win that one. Kansas State at Iowa State,
the Ireland game.
An Ireland game should be very, very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Just because both they're built the same. 2 physical teams, well-coached teams. Lost some good players. Probably would give the quarterback, I guess, battle to Avery Johnson. I'm not sold on him.
I'm with you.
But then Iowa State brings back a lot on defense, so that kind of maybe nullifies. So we'll see. And then you jump right into that first week.
Auburn Baylor does intrigue me. I'm not going to lie.
I do too.
Auburn's always a wild card, and that Sawyer Robertson guy at Baylor is going to climb some draft boards this year.
Yeah, and the thing about Auburn, they had a really good transfer portal class or or whatever, but it seems like they never can get it together. They're always in the top 8 recruiting, but never can get it together. But when you think they don't have it together,
surprise.
So this might be that year for them. The only other game I'll really look at is Central Arkansas at Missouri, Mr. Stand on business.
Right.
That's just because he makes me laugh. And then you jump right in there on the 29th in with Georgia Tech at Colorado again on primetime. Yeah, sure, Deion's the coach, but for their program to continue along this process of just riding the wave of what they did the last 2 years, it's a big step for them. And Georgia Tech is going to be a tough out for them.
Mm-hmm.
It is, because that type of football, when you're not used to that type of football, it travels. And Georgia Tech's coming up their favorite.
Yeah, already by a field goal and a half.
Yeah.
In the altitude.
Now, obviously,
first game of the year.
And you lose those type of players. But you'd like to think you'd be favored by a touchdown at home. This game is either going to be really, really close, or it's going to be a blowout. Georgia Tech might get after them a little bit, and then.
Well, don't forget what happened first game of last year for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and they pretty much just they beat Florida State so bad it just ruined not only their season but DJ Ungale's reasoning to go to Florida State. Now, so you got a fat NIL deal, but it really turned some heads and really set forth for this game right here that is appealing. I think their performance in Ireland made this game more appealing to put on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
So the expectation they're going to keep going on with that. And then when you look at, then you get in the schedule and there's some interesting games really. And, on the 30th, here's probably one of the most interesting games to me, Austin, is Utah at UCLA.
Old Pac-12 battle, baby.
It's that, but you got Utah after Cam Rising. Big shout out to him. He had to medically retire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he would have probably liked to leave after that Ohio State game in the Rose Bowl. I mean, he looked, and then it's just bad luck after bad luck. And then you got UCLA post Eric Bieniemy going back to the NFL, but UCLA losing some dudes on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, two of the better linebackers in the nation. Well, 3, because the one guy is more of an outside, pass rusher. And losing their quarterback too, who I think we saw was kind of like a little bit lower level version of Will Howard, above average passer, really good leadership skills, sneaky good athlete, and made gut wrenching plays against us.
Yeah.
That quarterback kind of
Garbers.
Yeah, garbage. I wouldn't say the sneak, but the pull it, make a guy miss, big time first down when we had him, down at the south end zone or towards the south end zone was a big play. It's going to be interesting to see how these two teams go at it, because right now it's at UCLA, which generally isn't a very big home field advantage, but Utah's only favored by 2.5 points.
That's surprising to me. You trust Utah, I think, a lot more as a program.
I think Utah's going to just try to line up and beat you up.
I think that's what Utah's done for a long time. It's been pretty darn successful with. But after last year, I'm not writing UCLA off by any means. I think that this is a game that whoever wins it goes 7-5. The loser goes 5-7.
Yeah, and I think UCLA showed everybody with beating us, beating Iowa, going up to Washington and giving them everything they can handle. USC as well. They're tough.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the toughest schedule last year for a new coach, a late hire as a coach,
first time head
coach, and they were very, very competitive. They were competitive down at LSU. They were competitive at home for the first 4 weeks, even though the wins and losses didn't look good. But then I think that game going out to Rutgers and putting it on them gave them confidence, and too much confidence to come in here, and they got after us a little bit. So we'll see what that happens. And the one thing I mentioned to you, Austin, before is to flip it up here, because I'm looking at Indiana. They're playing Old Dominion, so heck, Cignetti, that's an old rivalry game for him. Speaking of Indiana, who do you think could be this year's Indiana? And of course, I would say Nebraska based on the schedule, but Nebraska's a blue blood, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Indiana's not a blue blood.
Right.
So who do you think could be a blue or a surprise team? Maybe not even make the college football playoffs, but make some noise and either make it or just miss it.
I think Florida falls in that same conversation, right? There's a lot of hype, a lot of buzz around them. I'm not completely sold on them. I keep talking myself into Brett Bielema and the Fighting Illini. They won 10 games last year on the sneak, so it wouldn't be a come up from nothing first-year head coach sort of hire. But I do think the schedule sets up pretty well for Illinois. They're not going to catch anyone by surprise. They're more hunted than hunter right now, but that program isn't used to being the hunted. I think they're still hungry enough. I think there might be another level in them that they can take a pretty significant step forward. The Big 12, it wouldn't shock me if there's a team that comes out of there. That is just a solid top to bottom conference. It's a bloodbath every week. I could see the Big 12 doing the thing where it drags everyone down to say 9-3, 8-4, 7-5 in that range.
And kind of everybody eliminates themselves or
right.
each other.
On the sneak, watch out for the Gundy bounce back. Last year should have been the year for them with everything they had back.
Yeah.
One of the best players in America, and Ollie Gordon. It was all set up for him, and they collapsed under the weight of expectations. It was a problem. But Gundy's back is against the wall. It has been. He's been under fire at different points in time.
And he's answered the bell every time.
And he's answered the bell. I'm watching out for Gundy.
But
I'm not calling it. I'm just watching out for it.
Between him and James Franklin, I don't know. Hey, them two dudes, boy, I want to go. You know what, I don't know if James Franklin might drink like cognac, and I can see James Franklin inviting you over to his house. He comes down and he warms his cognac, and he has like a silk robe on.
Gosh, yes.
And he's telling jokes. And I could see James Franklin having people over his house, and that's how he rolls around.
I believe it.
In a silk robe with a Penn State T-shirt underneath and some nice shoes and everything, but he's cool with it. Mike Gundy, I'm sure he drinks beer.
He's a beer guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I need to go take his beer for how many times he let me down. Every single time, because my man Yada Wright, I call him Yada Plug. He's the GM of Oklahoma State. I pull for them because of him, for Bedlam, because he always talks. That's all he talked about is that rival, Oklahoma. And every single time they let me down. But my team, or a team that I think that could be Indiana is the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Yep.
They spent a ton of money.
All of it.
And it just keeps coming.
Uh-huh.
You know? But I look at the schedule. Arkansas and Pine Bluff should be a W. And these are games that if they go and they prepare and play well, where you can get the confidence where everybody plays and you blow them out, right? And like Indiana did, right?
Yeah.
Kent State, shouldn't be as easy as Pine Bluff, should be a win. Oregon State at home, I like it. That's a long trip for Oregon.
Yeah.
And so I like that. Then they go to Utah. Okay, that's a tough out. But if Utah's a little bit on the downslide, you got a head coach in waiting. You got a head coach trying to just go out one. But if Texas Tech should have a high-powered offense and defense.
Couple high-impact transfers on D, too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's a toss-up. Then they go 2 weeks later after a bye week. Okay. So, you know, altitude of Utah and all that. Houston should be on the downside. They should get after Houston. Then they get Kansas at home. If it was at Kansas, I would say Kansas. They get Kansas at home. Still going to be hot down there. Then they go at Arizona State. Okay, that's going to be tough.
Who knows?
But it's still going to be that's tough, especially if they play them in like the middle of the daytime.
Right.
And then here's where I think these next 2 weeks, next 3, or actually every week here, I think it's a blow. But these next 2 weeks really will set forth the path, and it all depends on how they're playing. They get Oklahoma State at home, somewhat of a rivalry now. Then they go at Kansas State, so we'll see where they're at. Then they get BYU at home, so that's favorable now, right? Because at BYU is a problem.
Yep.
BYU at Texas Tech, I like it. I think they learned from when Colorado came down there and put in work. Then they get UCF at home. Kid Frosty and his crew late in the year at home. Then they end the season, unfortunately, going out to West Virginia.
Yeah.
So if everything goes right all the way up until, let's say, October 11th or even after October 18th, or you can even say, right, they could be rolling by then. It won't be easy, right? I don't think it'll be as easy as Indiana, but I think it plays pretty favorable for them to have a pretty good season for them.
If Texas Tech is legit, they'll find ways to win at least 3 of those games.
Yeah.
If they are who we think they are. Now, let's say they end up 10-2. That's probably not enough for the wild card out of the Big 12.
Really?
In the 12 team, I don't think you get that Big 12 wild card.
Man, if
they're conference champs, obviously they're in.
Yeah.
If they're 11 or 12-1, I guess, and they're 1 losses in the conference championship,
it's
borderline.
So if they're 10-2 and end up 10-3, losing in the Big 12 championship,
I don't think they make it.
Yeah, not this year because
not with 12.
SEC is getting 18.
Now, if they're 11-2 with a conference championship loss, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know what people are going to point to, Jay?
They didn't win the championship.
Not that non-conference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's the other question: how did that 1996 game in Lubbock go for you guys?
Oh, we beat them pretty good, didn't
we? 24-10. Do you remember who scored the first touchdown of that game?
Yeah.
I figured you would.
It was Farley.
Yeah, it was Farley.
Came in the game, dude threw it right to him. I was in pass coverage. I was like, how do teams not see him and throw it right to him? I'm not hating, but damn. You know what I'm saying?
And they made you play that one in the heat of the day. 2:30 kick.
It was hot. A funny story about that before we go to break is we were out there. Me and Farley, we used to get it cracking, right? Because I was, rotating with this dude named John Hess. So we get in there and get busy. Farley was over there. They had, I think the coach's name was Spike Dykes. I know Spike Dykes, and he's well-respected coach. And they had Byron Hanspart or something, running back, supposed to be really good. We got it. We rat-a-tat-tatted him a little bit. Farley's over there just giving Spike Dykes the business. Going up and down the sideline, talking junk, right? So the ref warned him, and then so we're over there on the sideline. It's hot. Coach McBride comes over, so he'd always lift up his thing. So you need to cut it off, stop talking junk. We get right out there, and Farley going right back at him again. So yeah, that was a good memory. The worst locker room I've ever been in. It was probably as big.
Really?
It was probably as big as this room and that room. It was horrible
For 70 of you and coaches.
And yo, that flight
probably bumpy, wasn't it?
I'm like B.A. Baracus. It was bumpy and it was windy. You know, when you land and it had a small, like, little run. Oh my God, it was horrible. Yeah, it was tough. And the field was horrible too. The turf and the end zone. And maybe it's because of the heat. It was like it's how Nebraska's real like fine and painted. It was like hard. And maybe it was because of the heat, but I think it was probably done cheap. So anyways, we're gonna take a quick break, come back, talk a little NBA, I guess, before Ant-Man puts the Warriors to sleep tonight, and what it means for the Celtics or the NBA playoffs now that Tatum is out. Is it a free-for-all? Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We're going to see plenty of sunshine here. A little bit of cloud cover for your Wednesday. Another hot one out there. High temperature right around 90 degrees. Wind gusts in between 25 and 30 miles an hour. Tonight, a chance for some severe thunderstorms to our north and west. I think we'll stay dry here in Lincoln. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, the high of 83, and then low 80s again coming up for your Friday. I'm meteorologist Aaron Dowden for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman? Quick segment here before we turn it over again, man. This went by quick, man. I'm gonna be on pins and needles because I got to time up if I get to go to a game, man, on Nebraska bye week. I don't even know when the hell that is.
One of Nebraska's bye weeks is November 15th, and I'm planning to be up in Sioux Falls watching Nebraska, Oklahoma at the Pentagon.
Basketball. Yeah, so we you know, we got to get the schedule released and see how that goes, and then you know, then everybody gets to set forth their plans. You know, and football that you look when the schedule look we're in May. Essentially, we're halfway through May. That means it's June.
Which means it's July. Which means it's training camp.
Hey, I'm just telling you, man. That clock, that body clock starts to the juices start to flow, and then it's football time. You can smell it in the air. You can feel it, but the body just ain't moving no more.
You smell it in the air. You feel it in the bones first.
You feel it in your bones. You just know it's starting to get. You know, you're just used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I used to do after I retired is like, and it was a funny thing, is like a few of us that played here, we'd, you know, be training, we try to see, you know, kind of work hard, like see if we could, you know, still keep up, you know, like not keep up to go play, but go through a pre-training camp, you know, workout, extensive stuff. No more. No, I feel
not happening, Captain.
Yeah, I feel it in my bones. It ain't happening though. I ain't doing anything. So I mean, I think as it goes, and yes, you have the dog days of summer, but I have a sneaky feeling that I think baseball is going to have a really exciting year, right? That's going to keep people like interested, and the transfer portal is always going to portal, and we haven't got. I don't think we've had a set in cement or in stone 105 yet. Revenue sharing and all that. And real quickly, about Iowa State's AD, and maybe we'll get into it more extensive tomorrow, is that he was very frank. He said, listen, through COVID, we didn't have to do any like reduce any salaries or anything like that, and board of trustees or whatever. So they were fiscally sound, and he said, you know, for this 20.5 million revenue share, he's like, we have enough in reserves for, he said, a couple years. So that's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
4 at the most. But he says after that, you know, he's like, he hinted as like, we could just go back, we could go down to northern Iowa. I'm like, damn. Like you can't go somewhere in between.
Is this or that? There's no
just
middle.
Throw your hands up and just be done. You
right.
know?
Come on, Jamie.
But it's a true issue everywhere. Everywhere. 20.5 million just doesn't come from trees. You have generous donors, but money will run out.
Yeah.
So this has to be reevaluated. You have to find different ways to do it.
Get creative. You've known this is coming.
Right. You set forth a salary cap per team or whatever you need to do. You need to figure it out. Stop running it. I mean, all these people I'm assuming, are in decision-making positions, right? And when it was easy, you know, I remember who was the recruit or somewhere that got a ham sandwich. And like one of maybe it was here or it was somewhere.
Well, someone like dropped someone off at the Union or something.
Yeah,
Florida State thing.
Yeah, we're talking long ago.
Yeah,
and, you know, where you're trying to, you know, take games away and scholarships away back then for ham sandwiches, and that's when you really were out in front, right? You could not see Emmert. Well, I think his name Emmert, right?
I think so.
Right. He was everywhere.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah. Right. Now, you don't even know where the heck these dudes are.
Charlie Baker, where are you?
Right. Do we even have anybody? You don't even know. It's so bad they're trying to make a football commission. You got the president of the United States saying, you know what? I need to come help you guys to find some leadership because the guys that are supposed to be leading
ain't leading.
They gone. They gone fishing. And speaking of who's going to go fishing tonight, Golden State Warriors.
Hey, tell them.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, though. Listen, I got a call from a mutual friend of Del Curry. I know Del Curry just a little bit. Del Curry, I'm coming for. I got something for you, man. I didn't know Del Curry was talking this much junk. It's been a decade now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You both familiar with Charlotte?
Yeah. I'm gonna come. I'm coming to find you, Jeff. Anyways, good show. We turn it over on Wednesdays. Lighthouse Wednesdays. Bill Mitchell and crew. Always doing great things. Hopefully they recover from me being in the past Wednesday. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, keep listening. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team